So, we are back with a new video and we're going to talk about Dragonflight. We are currently in Season 4, and if you are still looking to play a new alt or a new main and you want to have something fresh until War Within, well, this video is probably for you. We're going to talk about a few classes that I would recommend if you want to play Season 4 right now, with obviously in mind that we don't have or will not probably have any balancing until a long while, or if we get balancing it will be very minor. And I feel like I can talk about what spec and classes I would recommend to you guys. Again, it's based on my experience from playing multiple classes, multiple specs, versus a lot of specs and classes in arenas, in PGs, even dueling, even world PvP. And I feel like currently I can say and I can kind of guide you guys and do a recommendation about these specs and classes you could play in Season 4 Dragonflight, but also in mind with War Within, because again, you could play a class or a spec and not really feel like Season 4 is worth it, and that's alright, because again, I understand that, but I feel like if you can play right now and train a lot of the aspects of that spec or class, you can take it to War Within and try to have a better CR or a better goal for you, or way easier to reach those goals. And I'm here to help you guys. So let's talk about it. So right now, I've played every single class and spec. Maybe not Evoker that much. I have Evoker on another server. And Monk, not that much. I played everything. Also my Demon Hunter, like everything. And I do feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what specking class could be good right now, but also in War Within. But then again, it is obviously subjective. You could say, look, I don't like that class, I prefer this class, and that's fine. But I'm going to say that after playing that many hours, and just in general, like watching content and playing versus a lot of classes and specs, I feel like Druid is one of the classes I would recommend to probably most people. It is a fairly hard class to play, even if it's strong, because we have Balanced Druid and Resto Druid being very strong, and Feral Druid being more of a niche spec, but you can play that. I do feel like Druid has a taste of everything. If you look for a class or a spec that you only want to play that one class or spec, I do feel like Druid is really good at that. Because you have one class, you have three specs that are completely different from each other. You can even play Garden Druid if you want to do some RBGs here and there. You are also very welcome to do that. And I feel like as a whole, it itches everything. I mean, it scratches every itch that you could have on that class, or just classes in general. You have Resto Druid, which is a spec that is very good in twos. I would say very, very good in twos. I personally love playing twos as a Resto Druid. I also play Soul Shuffle as a Resto Druid, which I feel like if you become better at it, it becomes easier to climb. At the start, I've lost multiple matches because I didn't have the gear, or I didn't have the knowledge of the meta, like current meta. And once it has hit that what I do, I have to do this, I have to get this gear, I need to change my talent setup a bit, I need to be more active with my CC, and sometimes I have to be less active with my CC. I do feel like there is a bit of progression towards that. The same for Balanced Druid. That once you know that you have to incarn from the get-go, and then you get a second incarn, which normally should land you a kill, and when you game us in the Soul Shuffle match, I do feel like you have a lot of like things that you have to learn, like learning how to cyclone, a character that is low HP, how to peel for your allies, how to survive as a Balanced Druid in general, how to multi-dot, how to try to do as much damage as you can, trying to cast whenever you can, trying to bait some casts whenever you can. And I feel like Balanced Druid is also a very good caster. I would say probably the best caster currently. It is good in threes, like I would say excellent in threes. It is excellent in solo shuffle. It is excellent in RPGs. You are going to always have and need a balanced druid in your team. So if you look also for RPGs, I think balanced druid is also a good choice. But also twos, I think in twos, although I rated quite low, was it low? I don't know. I don't feel like I rated that low. I think I rated quite fairly. You have some comps that you can play which are double DPS, and in double DPS comp you can play like of a hybrid state bounce rate where you do heal a bit and you do survive a bit and you do some good damage while like the enemy is stunned. For example, if you're playing with a sub rogue, I do feel like you have multiple ways to play druid. And then you have feral druid, which is something I didn't dabble too much this season. I might do that once I have the weapon. And I feel like it can be fun to learn. I don't think it's that good right now, or at least it feels very squishy. It feels like very hard to learn, but you can do that. And if I can learn a spec or a class, I think you guys can also do that. Like I'm not like a mad scientist. I'm 29 years old. My reflexes are a bit like dull, and that is normal I think with age, but also in general I do play multiple games, so it dulls my World of Warcraft, I would say, mechanics. I feel feral druids are very mechanically demanding, but it's also very fun to learn something hard. For example, I like to play resto druid while I have multiple keybinds that I'm using that I'm not using as a warrior, for example. So it's very, very satisfying to play. So I would suggest and recommend you guys to play druid. Now, another class I would recommend to play right now would be Death Knight. I think Death Knight, although you have like one spec that is not that good, which is Frost Decay, I do feel like Unholy Decay is a hidden gem. Although I'm not thinking that it is OP, it is not OP. I'm not thinking like it's meta. I don't think it's that meta, but I feel like Unholy Decay has some insane amount of damage, and it will be better in War Within as well. And if you have like no DKs on your like account and you have never played DK, I think it's a good time to learn it right now, because it's like learning like Rock Lee from Naruto, where he has a lot of weights on his like legs, and then once War Within is going to come out, you can just put out the weights, drop it, and get super fast. You could do the same with your DK. So I would suggest you maybe play DK as well. I think Unholy DK has multiple comps that you can play in threes. I think in twos you do have to play with a healer. It is not that optimal, but still you can gain some wins because of your coordination with your healer, for example. And in solo shuffle you could easily get some wins because of the meta that is currently going. I think Unholy DK is one of the specs that is actually very all-rounder in this current meta. It is not like the best, that's for sure. I think if you want to play the best, you could play Demon Hunter. I think if you're playing Demon Hunter right now, you could have a great time, and you have probably one of the most face rolling times out there. Whenever I'm saying that, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think Demon Hunter, the concept of Demon Hunter and how it plays will be applied to every single spec at one point. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Personally, I think a bit of complexity is fine. You don't need to be like arcane mages all over, but I think if every spec, every class has some complexity and some progression that you can have by becoming better, I think it's a good thing for the game. But I think Unholy Decay is great for that. It has multiple playstyles, although I think the main playstyle is still playing around your dots right now. I feel like all the nerfs that they put out for your festering wounds and just in general your death course, they got also some nerfs here and there. I feel like it's not as good as before, but you can still like play that build if you want to. I think the spread damage is better with current playstyle of dampening and how it matters. And then you have Frost Decay, which is like really a niche spec. I would not recommend to play one and expecting to be good. But you can play that and like play like Rock Lee with a lot of weights on you, and you can then unleash the real potential Frost Decay in War Within, which I think will be a good spec. From what I've read, from what I've seen, I think it will be a great spec. It will depend on a lot of things if they're going to nerf a few things or if they're going to change a few things. But I'm going to make a video once I have War Within in my hands, and I will be for sure try to make you understand why that spec or class has future in War Within. Now, I've talked about a druid, which is a versatile class. I've talked about DK, which is probably something you are going to play for in the future War Within. Now, if you want something that is very strong right now and very safe to play, I think Hunter is one of the classes that are the most interesting currently in the meta. I'm not saying like class design. I do feel like class design, it is left to be desired. I think the designers of Hunters are not that good. It is what it is. I don't think they play the game, or I don't think they play the Hunter class. They might play warrior or something like that, but they are not playing hunter, that's for sure. But I do feel like if you're playing hunter, you have multiple class specs that are very satisfying to learn, which is survival hunter, which is one of the classes that probably, well, one of the specs that are probably the most fun specs to play, in my opinion. You have Hunter, which is currently very, very strong. In RBGs, it is in high demand. In twos, you can really do well if you're playing with a healer and you have a lot of coordination. I play with a Hunter whenever I'm on my resto druid, and we do good. You can play with a BM Hunter, which is probably the most versatile spec out of those three specs. And it's also very good in twos, in threes, soul shuffle. All those three specs are actually quite decent in all aspects of PvP. So if you want a class that has everything, like I would say every spec has something going on, you could play Hunter and you will have fun, you will progress, you will get your goals. I do feel like with Hunter you can have a lot of goals, CR goals, if you're like playing with friends, or if you're playing soul shuffle, you can like progress very well. I do feel like it learns you how to kite, and that's something that you can kind of I would say export to other classes, like for example warlock, mage, or even priest. So you have some aspects here and there that will make you learn how to survive, how to kite, how to go in, how to CC, and all these aspects are very important if you want to progress as a player, in my opinion. So Hunter is for sure one of my recommendations, or else what I would also recommend is probably Rogue. And it's something that I tend to not play because I feel like you need to one-trick it, but this video is pretty much for people that want to do a 180 on their mains or 180 on their alts, and they want to commit on improving on the game. I do feel like playing Rogue, although it is not really super meta right now, it's especially in soul shuffle, except assassination Rogue, in my opinion. That is very strong, but I think the other specs are a bit like iffy. It is one of the specs that can, like one of the classes that can do very good in twos, like at any point. It's also very decent in threes, although again you have to learn the class and the spec and how it plays and how it survives and how you have to deal damage. But I think it's very satisfying to play and to learn. I think personally, design-wise, I really love Rogue. It just is a shame that I play multiple classes, because I think if I had to choose one class and play that till the end, it would be either Rogue, Hunter, or Druid. And you are probably going to notice what is the trend. It is basically stealth. I like to be stealthed. I like to have the first strike, have the like again the opportunity to be sneaky. And although Wotlk PvP is not really a thing anymore, like it is a thing here and there, but it's not really a thing like back in the day. I still really enjoyed like the stealthiness and trying to like catch someone off guard. That's something I really love to do. And in BGs as well, you can have a lot of fun with it. In twos, you are very good. In threes, you are very good. And in soul shuffle, you're a bit less good, but you still are decent if you're playing assassination rogue. You have multiple play styles. I do feel like in War Within it will also be very fun to play. Although the hero taunts are a bit dull, but that aside, I think it's a good like class to play and a good class to main. So that is my little class that I would recommend for people that really craves that stealthiness and that I would say progress that he needs to have to keep on playing, because I think as a rogue you don't really get bored out of your mind. I think you always learn a few things, you learn a few tricks. Every game is not really the same because you are actually looking for CC here and there and adapting on what the enemy is doing. So I think it's a good gameplay. Although you guys know me probably with warrior gameplay or hunter gameplay or whatever, I do feel like the subtleness that rogues have are really something that I do crave and I don't have with warrior, for example. And then I would recommend a last class, and it is probably because it is my all-time favorite class, just because of my history with it and how much fun I have when playing it. And although I'm not really playing too much these days, I would like to renew it, especially in War Within, but I think also for this season I want to try to progress on it. It would be Warlock. Warlock is, I think, really satisfying to play because of how I feel a Warlock should be. I think Affliction Warlock, although if we are going to be honest, in Cataclysm it was way more fun because it was also made way more busted. I think Affliction Warlock in War Within is going to be a great thing. It's going to be very fun to play. I can't actually wait to play that. I do feel like Affliction Warlock is satisfying how it plays. It's satisfying how the games can end. I think the things that I have is it is satisfying but frustrating, but I know that if people want to progress in Season 4 to take it in War Within, I do feel like Warlock is a great bet, because you have Affliction Warlock, you have Destruction Warlock, and you have Demonology Warlock, which all these three specs play vastly different from each other. And that's something you cannot really tell if you're playing a warrior. Like Fury in Arms doesn't really play too different. Even, I would say, difference between a MM hunter and a BM hunter is way less big than everything combined with Warlock, for example. Of course, some specs have way more different things, or they don't have enough like a flavor compared to other classes. But I feel like with Warlock you have like Affliction Warlock, which is dot based gameplay. You have Destruction Warlock, which basically is destruction based gameplay where you try to finish games with big damage, or Demonology Warlock, which is kind of a mix of the two. You're trying to kill your opponents with pets, but you also have sometimes some bigger damage here and there because of bigger pets. So I do feel like Warlock is a recommendation I would always give. And then you're going to probably notice I didn't recommend Shaman, I didn't recommend Priest, I didn't recommend Paladin. And I think those are also good classes, and I would recommend every class, to be honest. If you have time to play and you want to commit on World of Warcraft, yeah, you can play every single class and probably have fun with it. But if you have to choose one class, I feel like choosing Paladin is a bit harder, Shaman as well. Well, I think Druids, DKs, Warlocks, even Hunter or Rogue are really good choices just in general on how you can have fun and have the diversity with your gameplay, but also how you can also transport it to War Within. So yeah, I might make a video very soon about War Within. I hope I will get some access to it so I can actually make videos about. But right now, I look forward to. I'm actually having fun on Season 4, although I made a video like a few weeks ago that I stopped playing. I do feel like it did good to make a break, and it did good to me at least, and it feels good to be back and playing. And although I'm playing also other games as well, be playing arenas with my friends or soul shuffle as a healer or a DPS sometimes if the queues are letting me do that, is satisfying. Although I don't take too much like serious in Season 4. I prefer to keep my seriousness for War Within. But at one point it will be a bit more intensive, I would say. Further we are from the closer we are from the new expansion. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. Really, I appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. You will see some PvP guides going up very soon, but obviously it's nearly end of the season, if not like mid of the season. So I don't know if it's really that popular or that in demand, but I will try to still help you guys with your goals, help you guys understand classes that you might not play or will play in the future. And I can't wait to have a video for you guys, and we can then talk about it. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.